Welcome everyone. Today is September 22nd, I believe, and it is getting late. Sun's going down. It's cold, and we've had frost, but it was fine. But we now have another frost, and it's already going down in the 40s already at night. So I've tried to let my tomatoes ripen on the vine as much as possible, but I just realized I have to get these picked or, the frost tonight might actually ruin them. So I'm going to show you. All of these right here are supposed to be my Mariana tomatoes. That's what the package said. My seeds were not the ones that came from the collaboration because, well, I tried, but a couple made it a little bit and then they just died. So I found a package I got last year. I bought a bunch of varieties of tomatoes and I couldn't grow any of them yet. I didn't have a garden structure put up. And I just looked in there and happened to find Mariana tomatoes. So I used them. But let me tell you something. I don't think they're Mariana tomatoes because my tomatoes are like this. Doesn't look like a Mariana tomato. And you will see my other ones are even bigger. So it's such a shame though, because my plants, may not seem like it, but they are a very dark, beautiful green, most of them. There's a lot of spots that's already started dying off, but for the most part, my plants are extremely healthy. I still have flowers on them, and I still see some bees coming around here. So, let's see. This one's still good. I'm just going to pick what I can. Okay, it's not holes, which is good. It's just where it's split. That's fine. There's not holes in there. But I'm just going to pick them off and see if they will just ripen. So that's all I got from this tree here, this plant here. Doesn't look like a Mariana tomato. So to be honest, I have no idea what this is. Normally, if I were to have been able to harvest a proper harvest of tomatoes, even if I think it was not the right variety that it says on the package, I would still try and get some seeds, save some seeds from it for the next year, because ultimately all my seeds are heirloom. I only grow heirloom. So as long as I'm planting heirloom seeds, even if it's not the variety it says it is, it's still going to be a tomato. So normally I would save my tomatoes, but this time not going to, because for one, they're green, and I don't see the point. I'm sure they're going to ripen, but what's the quality going to be of my seeds? Look at this nice cluster here. See that? So, again, I wouldn't say that's a Mariana, but I don't, let's see. You can see, look in there. Nice little cluster. And it's such a shame, too, because I have such a nice amount of green tomatoes here that would have really been nice if they would have been able to ripen. So, but that's okay, because next year is definitely going to be a much better year. To start with, I still have a ton of manure over there. Did the best I could with this garden, this year, but I had a lot up against me and I don't have help. So manure came a month late, but just because the manure comes late doesn't mean everything can get done in one day. So as soon as that manure came, I started working really hard, getting my buckets out and getting them filled. but I had to pick all the rocks. There was so much gravel mixed in with that manure that it was so much work and extremely time consuming to pick out all the rocks out of every single shovelful. So every single time I would I would have a shovel of manure, I would have to stop, hold it with one hand, and pick the manure out of it with the other hand. That is horrible for my spine. I have spine damage from workplace injuries. I'm not supposed to be doing any kind of lifting. So holding a shovel full of heavy manure mixed with gravel, picking out rocks, dumping it, and having to do that all day, it was too much. I forced myself because it had to get done, but it's just too much for me. And I paid for it very badly afterwards. So after a while, I did the best I could. I focused on tomatoes and peppers. Why? Well, prices here. Tomatoes are so expensive. The last couple years, every time I go to the store to get a tomato, start with, doesn't taste like tomatoes. If you have a tomato fresh from the plant, from the garden, and you go and eat one from a store, I will tell you, they do not taste the same. So, flavor is definitely one. But then on top of that, most importantly, when you buy tomatoes at the store, most likely they have chemicals. Oh, my cat. Oh, I found my cat outside. It's Homestead Kitty. Oh, I poor thing scared me. I was like, oh my gosh, my indoor cat came outside. Like, I got scared. What if he runs away? They're not used to being outside. So if you heard a cat just now screaming at me, that is Homestead Kitty. I normally bring him his food before it gets dark. I bring him food in the morning, but I bring him filling food. He gets dry food in the morning, but he gets filling food before it gets dark out, so he has a nice full belly at night and he's not wandering the streets. Looks like holes. Again, it's not holes, just where it's split. Look how big that is. So he actually just came around and found me and is screaming at me, letting me know he is hungry. So I'm gonna have to go. I already planned on it anyways. I have to go and bring him his food as soon as I'm done picking these green tomatoes to bring inside. Just want to make sure I get them all. So this is the plants that I thought were my Mariana tomatoes. These ones right in here. And that is all for the Mariana tomatoes. So, turns out, I highly doubt they were Mariana tomatoes. If they do ripen and I get to use them, great. If they don't, well, at least I tried. So, now peppers, I can't decide. And I gotta decide within seconds. But, most part, didn't really do much. I do have over here, this here if you can see it. Let me see. There's the pepper here. It's just a small one. I think I'm gonna leave it. They're so tiny, they're probably not gonna have much flavor. And I actually have, it's dark out. There's one right there too. That's the biggest pepper I have. So my pepperoncinis are these two right here. This one and this one. I don't see any peppers. Kitty, come here. What are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come on. I want him to come and say hello. Come on. Come on. Come here. He's coming. So now my peppers, I'm just going to leave them because my plan is actually to overwinter them. So I'm going to see if I can get those peppers to grow a bit more before I pick them. But once I get my greenhouse cleaned out, which I'm going to do next weekend because it's going to get a little bit warmer. It's going up to 67. It's like going to be like 60 all week. And so I'm going to work on the greenhouse next weekend, taking everything out. I'm going to get everything fixed up. All my peppers, I'm going to cut them down to about maybe 6 inches. And then I'm going to pull the, ooh, that's not good. I'm going to pull the leaves off and I'm going to put them in my greenhouse. It's not a heated greenhouse. It's not even finished. And it's not going to be finished for quite some time because Tough Text here, I use Octagon Tough Text. It's better than the regular. And, come here. Do you want to say hi? Come here. He likes to speak. I talk to him all the time and he talks back. So the Tough Text is so expensive that I couldn't finish my greenhouse. And so I just covered it in plastic sheeting, like what you would use for covering insulation when you're putting up walls. And it's perfectly fine. So there's no heat, but it at least does keep all of the snow and the rain and the cold wind out. So that is going to be my experiment this year is, wow, cherry tomatoes are prolific. Come here. What are you doing, honey? Come on. Trying to get in my window because he knows my cat is in that on the other side of the window. But anyways, so after I cut my pepper plants down to maybe about 6 inches and pull all the leaves off. Oh, wow, look at this here. Okay, look at this. If you can see it. That's nice and ripe. So what I'm going to do is just put them in there and see if they overwinter. As long as it doesn't get too cold, then they should come back up for the spring. And that'll give me a huge head start for next year. This year was just a disaster for my peppers. I mean, I literally didn't get any. There's a couple growing that I showed you, but come here. So there's a few growing I showed you, but for the most part, I don't even know if they're going to taste good. Because if they don't get big enough, like if they don't grow enough, it affects the flavor and it's just gross. So this way, next spring, making sure I got them all. So next spring, if they overwinter and they don't die, then they'll actually just start to grow again. And I will have about 40 buckets of peppers that are all ready, and I don't have to go through all that work to plant. All that I'm going to do is, you see there? So all that I'm going to do for next year, if it works, is I just have to bring the bucket out, put it out in the sun when the weather's nice enough, and it'll just start to regrow. So that will save me a ton of work from, it's about I have, I think I have about 40 buckets of peppers. There's bell peppers. I think they're all bell because I did plant a few hot ones because I wanted to make like some salsa. I don't like heat. So I was just going to make a mild salsa, but just use a little bit of the jalapenos, and I wanted to make my own cayenne pepper. So I did try and grow some, but I didn't get them in the buckets in time, so it's kind of a bust. Anyways, next year I'm just going to get a head start. You can see these. I'm just getting a head start on my bell peppers. I'm over here. Over here, honey. Come on. Come here. So, look at this. There's a nice big cluster right here. How am I going to get it all? Okay. Look at that. You see that? It's beautiful. Another cluster there. yeah, sun already went down behind the house, behind the trees. So there's only a tiny bit of light and it goes fast. So I have to get all of this and there's some down here too. So I have to get this very quickly before I have no light. But anyways, so next year I should have a huge head start on my peppers. And peppers for many people are tricky. So they like hot heat when they're germinating, but once they start to grow, they like it cool. So I'm going to get a nice start on my peppers. And then I just have to start all my tomatoes again. And I believe if I figured everything out and things stay on track and no surprises come up, I should be able to come up with enough money to finally, after 4 years, to be able to get all of the cedar wood that I need so that I can build the raised beds I want to build and cover huge amounts of space at the side of the house with black weed shield that's under there, and then put raised beds. So I'll have walkways and raised beds. And I want to have as many as I can possibly make and fill. And I want to grow everything that I can grow. So the only thing I won't be growing is spinach because I don't eat it. And there's certain reasons why. It's not what we think it is. So no spinach, a little bit of lettuce. You can't preserve lettuce. So I'm only going to grow a little bit of romaine lettuce that I'm going to eat. And I'll do, just plant a few 1 week, a few the next week, and just do that all summer long. So I just have a little bit of lettuce, but I don't eat chard. I don't eat spinach. But I do believe I'll be able to get chickens. So I may grow some greens just for my chickens, but it won't be for myself. So pretty much everything else I will be growing. Look at this one here. So I'm going to be growing pumpkins, toucan, and zucchinis. I really want to grow a ton of zucchinis. Just everything. I want to grow some eggplants. Reason for that is I've never had eggplant, but I like to at least try things so I know if I like it or not. I want to grow a few different varieties of eggplant, and I want to try different ways of eating it. And, okay, here's one. I wish you could see, but my screen is so dark, I don't think you can. I got some paste ones here I want to show you. It feels a little slimy. Oh, can you see in the light? Decent size there. Whew. Bug. So just want to make sure I'm getting all of my plants and I don't... Oh my gosh, there's one right in front of me. So I want to try eggplant next year, and this is why. One of the shows I used to watch, I still watch them sometimes, but the information is just not really there as much as it used to be. But if you go to Homestead Heart and you watch all their old videos, there's a ton of really good information and recipes and ideas. A lot of good stuff. So I was watching one day and she was talking about how she processes eggplants because her husband loves eggplant. So she makes an eggplant parmesan, shows you how she does it. But here's something interesting. So she makes battered eggplant fries. So she cuts up her eggplant and into like strips like French fries. And then she batters them and flash freezes them once they're frozen. Then she puts them in big Ziploc bags, puts them in the freezer And, oops, lost my tomato. Ooh, where'd you go? Here it is. So she makes fries out of eggplants, and apparently they are delicious. So there's another one here. So I want to try eggplant fries, the battered eggplant fries, and then I also want to try not interested in any kind of that eggplant parmesan, whatever it was with the, I just don't like pasta sauce on anything breaded because it just goes soggy. So that's not for me. But I do want to try some eggplant. And I'm also going to be looking up, different ways of cooking and preserving eggplant so I can try it. Okay, I can't keep throwing them in here. Move my bucket over here. Ooh, I wish it wasn't so dark, but you can see the light is going. So I'm just gonna talk to you while I pick the rest of these off. So I want to try all kinds of ways to cook and preserve things that I don't know anything about. Like I said, never ate eggplant before. There's a whole lot of stuff that I never ate. I will tell you, I've never had squash. Only time I ever had squash was many, many years ago. One second. Okay. Probably like 20 years ago, maybe. No, maybe 20 years ago, or like 18, 20 years ago. I had an aunt that had bought some battered vegetables and cooked them up, fried them. And I had some, like, what is this? Tastes weird. And she's like, oh, that's just squash. I'm like, I've never had squash in my life. So I had a little tiny piece, and I mean a little tiny, tiny piece, the size of a small mushroom. That was a piece of squash that was breaded and fried. So that was the only time I ever had squash. But it does have a lot of nutrients, and it stores very well. So I am determined to find a way to like squash. I'm going to try different ways of cooking it. So I'll definitely be looking for a lot of recipes on different ways to cook squash. And I want to also cut it in cubes and can it, and then open it up. And I want to put to the immersion blender. So I'll probably roast my squash. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, oh wait, no, I don't think I can. Okay, never mind. So I'm gonna cut them in cubes raw, and then I'll pressure can them. And I thought I saw another tomato on this plant. And then after I pressure can them, then I'll open it and I'll use my immersion blender, and I'll use a pumpkin pie recipe. And I'm gonna try and cook squash using pumpkin pie recipe and see how it comes out. Because there are some squashes that actually apparently taste like pumpkin. And when you make pumpkin pie, tastes the same. There's even a melon. Well, it's called a melon. I don't know if it's a melon or a squash, but it is actually well known, this melon, for making amazing pumpkin pie. So I want to try and grow that. When you can grow foods that store well on their own, like potatoes, if they're stored well, you can have fresh potatoes until your next harvest, or at least you should. And you don't have to. Hey, there's Kitty. I hope you can see him. You see him? There's my son. There's my baby. Okay, stay close. I'll get your food soon. He's making sure I know he is hungry. But I have to get these, then I can go feed him. Ooh, here's a cluster. Big cluster. So I'm going to try and find different ways to cook and eat squash. But, you know, if you have, like, stay here, honey. Don't you dare go across the street. That's what he does, and I don't want him going across the street. Stay close. I got your food. So, I do want to try heavily and focus on things that, you know, like pumpkins and squashes, zucchinis, anything that could store in a root cellar for a fairly long time, so I don't have to use my canning jars on that kind of stuff. And but the thing is, I don't have a basement, but I am trying very hard to be able to get this house fixed up enough that I can sell it and I can buy a house that has a basement, a better house than this. Oh my gosh, I have so much tomatoes here. So anyways, so because I'm determined to have a house by next fall, I am going to focus on growing lots and lots of root plants. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. But look at them. So I do want to at least, you know, if I at least try, then I can't feel bad because I did my best. So I'm just going to keep praying hard and visualize and see it as though it's done in my new house with all my food. So I'm going to focus very hard on that. But I do want to can as much as possible. So yeah, I will be growing as much tomatoes as I can. All that stuff. You know what? I wish it was light up because this plant is so massive. I mean, this plant is like a good sized bush, and I can't even get in this plant too. Oh my gosh. So I don't think the frost is going to harm them because I can't even get inside the plant to get all these tomatoes out. Anyways, almost done. Not really. I'm going to miss a bunch, but if I at least get, you know, what I can, then I'll be happy. So next year should be an amazing year. I should have my chickens for summer. Well, the snow usually melts in May, so beginning of June, there's usually the snow's all gone. So I should be able to get my chicken coop built as soon as the snow melts. So sometime in May I can get that chicken coop built. Just have to make sure I have all my supplies. And then let me think here. Yeah, I'm just trying to get these last tomatoes here. So I have my chicken coop, and at the same time I should be able to have my garden raised beds all done, all put in and ready, so that as soon as the temperature is good enough, I can go and get my plants all planted. Oh, okay, lots of red ones here. I'm just gonna break the whole plant here. You can't see, that's okay. So I'm just breaking the whole stem off. These are just cherry tomatoes. Oh, gracious. Anyways, so I'm excited for next year, and I am already starting to get some seeds in order. So I do have some seeds. I mean, yes, I have an affiliate with a seed company, but I still have to buy my own seeds. So, okay, they have sent me some seeds in the past, and I showed them to you all, but I gave them away. I gifted them to somebody that I wanted to give seeds to. So I am going to be purchasing some seeds, but I have been gifted some seeds too as well. So I recently just won some seeds from Lori at Lori's World. And Sander, Dark Lord Minute, he sent me some seeds as well, which I should receive in the mail next week, hopefully. So I am getting some seeds put together, and let's see. There's a couple other channels that sent me some seeds in this last summer, early summer, but I don't want to waste. I'm very particular. I don't like to waste seeds. So I put them aside. I'm going to use them for next year. And my goodness, there's so many and I can't even see. So I can see a little bit, but not really. So anyways, I do have a good start on some seeds for next year. So I'm very hopeful. And if there's going to be another survival seeds, I will definitely do that as well. So next year will be much better for that as well, because what my plan is to have some raised beds that are like an area. Actually, I want to put an area on one side of the house that is just for survival seeds, and then, oh my gosh, get out of there. Oh my gosh, he's having such a tantrum because his food is late. He's in my gazebo just jumping around and playing, but not really playing, more like breaking stuff, jumping around. And anyways, I gotta hurry this up. But I do plan on doing the survival seeds again next year, but I'll be much better prepared, and they will have their very own section. So they'll have their own raised beds on one side of the house, and I'm excited to see how that does. And then on that side of the house right there, I'm going to hopefully have just a huge amount of space that is just raised beds. So we will see how that does. And oh my goodness, I honestly can hardly even see. So I think I'm about done. Whatever I'm going to come out tomorrow, get what I missed. Hopefully it's still good. But there's only so much you can get in the dark, and if I would have known, I would have came out and got all this done earlier. But I just happened to look at my phone. I thought, oh wow, it says frost advisory. Not surprised. But I looked at how low the temperature is going, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to need to get out here and salvage these, because there is quite a bit out here. So I think, oh good gracious, there's another plant over here, and I can't even see. I can't see anything. So I think I'll just end it here because I can't see. So I can't pick what I can't see. So I'm going to come out tomorrow and do my best to get everything that I didn't see. So if you stayed, thank you so much for staying with me as I pick all this stuff. And tomorrow in the light, I will show you the bucket where I put all this stuff, and you'll be able to see how much I was able to harvest. Oh my gosh, I just got an overflowing handful here of cherry tomatoes. You could see. No, you can't. Okay. Well, I tried. So I'm going to end it and just be happy I at least got what I did. And I'll take a picture tomorrow in the light. And, it could have been worse. I could have got absolutely nothing. So I'm grateful I got what I did. But, it's probably half a 5-gallon bucket. Okay, a car just turned in my driveway. What are you doing? And I don't like that. So this is the downside of living out in the country, is I have to deal with this crap. I don't like people pulling in my driveway out here, especially when they think nobody's home. So just a side note, if you live out in the country, be careful. And if a car pulls in your driveway late at night, which happens here, unfortunately often, make sure they see you and they know there are people here, because otherwise it'll be what happened to the house next door. And I don't want that happening here. So always make sure that your house looks like there's people there, or something like that may happen. And out here, I will tell you, even if we were allowed to have pew-pews, we can have hunting ones, but it's so restricted, it's ridiculous. Every area, I don't know. I have a neighbor who said, no, you can have your pew-pews. But then everyone else like, no, laws have changed, can't have them. Anyways, even if you had one and somebody's robbing you and whatever else, and they're on your property, if you harm them with your pew-pew, they can sue you and you go to jail. Even if they're on your property and they're in the wrong. Why? Because technically, the deed to your house just gives you the right to use the property that it's on. So you own your home, but you don't own the land. That's why you pay property tax. That is your rent. So if you don't pay your property tax, they take your land. You can move your house, and anything that's on your land, you can move it. Now, if the bank seizes your house, you didn't pay your mortgage, well, they own your house, so you can't take it because you don't own it. If you have a mortgage, you don't own your house. You might think you do, you don't. The bank owns it. And once you've fully paid your mortgage, then they will take the lien off your house, and they will sign the house back over to you. But when you have a mortgage, you don't own your house, the bank does. You own the mortgage. That has to pay for the house. So they allow you to live in your home while you're paying your mortgage. But it's not your home. They can call your mortgage at any time. People don't think that they're allowed to do that, but they can. They can call on a mortgage. So if they say, hey, we're calling your mortgage, whatever money you still owe, you have to pay back now, or we take your house. If you don't have that money, they take your house. So they generally don't do that, because if people knew that, they would be avoiding a mortgage or getting homes that are way below their means and getting those mortgages paid off ASAP. And they don't like that because that's not how they make their money. So they don't usually do that, but they can. So anyways, just know that you may think you own your land, but you don't. And that's one of the reasons why here you can't defend yourself with a pew-pew or anything like that, or something else, a bat, or other things. Can't do it. So for one, people aren't trespassing because it's not your land. You might think it is, it's not. But on top of that, oh, there's bugs out here. So some of the other things I learned, because I had a friend that was a police officer and told me some things that I kind of knew, but not all the details. So basically here in Canada, people can go on your property and they're allowed. Not really any such thing as trespassing. Now, there is a way around that. So if you have your land, someone's walking on your land, they're allowed to do that. They can go in your backyard, whatever they want. They can go on your land. If they're committing a crime while they're on your land, then the police can come and do something. Now, if someone's on your property and you don't want them on your property, well, here's the thing. What you have to do is you have to have a sign. I'm putting my tomatoes in my pocket and I keep dropping them. So you have to have a sign that's very visible that says no trespassing. So at whatever point of entry, you don't want people. Come here, kitty. Come here. Come here. He's going on the road now because he doesn't have his food. Come here. Come on. Where's my baby? Come on, kitty. Come on. Are you hungry? Okay. Oh, wow. Did he run fast? He thinks I have his food. Almost. Just give me a minute. So anyways, the way around that a little bit is you have to have a sign that's at a visible entrance or wherever your property is. It can be anywhere. You have to have visible signs that say no trespassing. But on top of that, you also have to have a visible barrier, like fencing, and it has to be visible where your property line is. And I just stepped on the garden hose. Anyways, so you have to have visible signs that say no trespassing, not just in one spot, but it has to be visible from all around your property. And then you have to have a clear border. And if somebody is trespassing on your property, and I got my tomatoes. Okay, so if someone's trespassing on your property and you have a sign and clear borders, you can call the police and they'll come. All they'll do is give them a fine for like $60 some. Now, it may have changed from a few years ago and I'm in a different province, but in general, the law is the same. It's just the fine might be different, but they can't arrest them. So they can give them a fine, but that's it. Each time they trespass. If they're committing a crime while on your property, then they can arrest them. But other than that, nope, can't do anything. So just a random piece of information to protect yourself and your property. That's what it's like here. And I am now coming into the house as pitch black. I can't see. So I'm going to end this because I have to go feed Kitty. Tomorrow I'll take the picture of my tomatoes and then I will probably film another video. Oh, I'm just stepping on things. Okay, so I'm ending my video and I will see you tomorrow.